Hi there, I see somebody's joined us. If you could, in the chat, just let me know if you can hear the audio, if it's okay. Yep, great. Hi Karen, how you doing today? Let me know if you hear any feedback with the audio as well. I've got a bunch of wires flying about here, trying to keep them all separate. I'm going to let a couple more people join here, assuming others will join us. Karen, where are you joining us from? Looks like we got another person signed on here. Mohammed, thanks so much. Glad it's clear. Let me know if that changes in the chat. I've got some... okay. Oh, welcome from the UK. That's awesome. I love seeing people check in from those different places around the world. I'm going to go ahead and just sort of do a soft start here. We are in West Yellowstone, Montana, the west entrance to Yellowstone National Park, right on the border of Idaho. It is about a little after 9 a.m. my time, and I can't look up my phone temperatures, but it's probably 60 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's like mid-teens Celsius. It is a beautiful morning. Oh, I hope you get a chance. It is an amazing place, an amazing park, the world's first national park. Yeah, it's super cool. You can see all these people here are waiting to get in. And I wanted to come down here and do a live stream from here, and specifically this spot. I'm going to step up here on the road to get a better view. This is the entrance kiosks, and you can see all the cars, and I'm going to turn around and walk back towards West Yellowstone. And believe it or not, despite all these cars coming in, it's really not that crowded. We came through here a couple weeks ago about this time, and all these lanes were backed up entirely into town, and from 3 different feeder roads, there were 2 or 3 blocks or more of traffic. So I think either the Park Service has gotten it more efficient, or there are fewer people, or people have gotten the word that you need to get in early. Kayaking Kelly, that's fantastic. It's a great little town, isn't it? It is a beautiful day here. Kayaking Kelly. It is, I was saying, it's about 60 degrees. I love the smell of these woods as the sun warms them up. As we go through, along this section anyway, I'm going to turn us around and point at some signs that are sort of indicative of what's going on here. And I'm really very surprised at how light the traffic is this morning, especially this late. So here's I'm going to spin you around. There's Yellowstone National Park sign, and we'll just keep going. I didn't do my normal housekeeping stuff. My name is Henry. In fact, I'm going to show you here if I can get rid of that notification. I think I'm going to show you here. Oh, there we go. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker, your virtual travel guide today. Sorry for the schmutz on the lens, making it a little bit hazy. And that's me, so I'm going to turn you around. Thanks for joining us today, guys. All right. Thinking the same thing I just said I was so... Anyway, so this is what I do. This is an exploration. I actually know a little bit more about West Yellowstone than I would normally some of the other towns I explore. My most recent recorded video was in Jackson. No, sorry, across the pass from Jackson. in Driggs. Hello, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to try and pronounce this correctly. Junghoim-jo, is that right? Thanks for joining us. And let me know your questions. Let me know your comments. One of the most fun things for me doing these is to interact with you guys. I get a lot of joy out of that. I love seeing your comments. I love hearing your thoughts, your memories, you're sharing your experiences. I'm going to flip you around again. Sorry for the pan. And just because there's this little sign that says, hey, what up, Otis? This buy your park pass online. Wonderful to see you, Abbott, Dean, and thanks, Junghoim-jo. Anyway, buy your pass online. One of the things I like to encourage people to do, because it makes everybody's life a little bit easier, is when you come to the park, you can get your pass, your annual pass, your parks pass, or your specific Yellowstone pass here at the gate. You can buy it online, but just have your stuff ready. Be ready to go. Sorry, the light makes it hard to read. Daily Dale, this is right outside of Yellowstone National Park. We are walking from the entrance kiosk to Yellowstone into West Yellowstone, which is the gateway town. And you can maybe catch a glimpse of some of the buildings up here. We've got about 5 more minutes before we get into town. Karen, to park at the park. Parking is free inside the park. It's $35 for a week-long pass into Yellowstone. I think that's right. Or you can buy an annual pass for, I think, $80, and that'll get you into any National Park Service property, including national monuments and historic stuff. It is expensive to stay, and the reason I mentioned the pass is trying to keep up with this with the chats, but the reason I mentioned that is because Grand Teton is just south, almost connected to Yellowstone, and that pass will get you in there as well. Got us parking around the U.S. Oh my gosh, yes, they are setting records everywhere in our national park system. People are, it's a great deal, Karen. $35 for, I think the park is 70 miles by 70 miles. I can't remember how many million acres it is. I'm going to spin you around and show you another sign. I can't read your name, but China's fine. That's a great comment about the military. I don't know how to block this guy. If anybody knows how to block this person that's talking about China destroying the USA, and I don't care what your opinions are, but this is kind of a fun, positive place, and I don't really want to have that kind of stuff taking up our chat. Well, that's a to-do later, is to figure that out. Back to the parks. It is a wonderful opportunity here. It is very affordable, and thanks, Dean. It is an amazing park, world's first national park, and especially if you like geothermal stuff, lots of bears and that sort of thing. Yeah, Karen, I don't know how to block them, unfortunately. There are elk and bison and wildflowers and scenic vistas and lakes. It's just a great, great park. Someone mentioned crowding. Thank you, Dean. It is crowded, and I think you need to be prepared to share this place, this public land. A lot of people here in the U.S. are excited about getting out and being mobile again. We're lucky enough and fortunate enough to have a lot of access to vaccinations here. So Yes, that's a good point, Kayaking Kelly. Anyway, a lot of people are able to move about safely again. Yeah, Yellowstone is huge. People often underestimate how many days they need to see the park. And another tip I would say is to if you get a half mile away from the parking lots on the trails, then the park empties up. You know, you start to have stuff to yourself. It's not, most people stick to the beaten path, and if you can get a little bit off of that, you'll have the park to yourself. Well, not entirely to yourself, but and that sort of thing. So Joseph Seed, I don't know who Joseph Seed is, but in any case, you can see a lot of people with RVs. Another issue as we get into the gateway town is lodging. So restaurants, lodging, that sort of thing. So if you haven't made your reservations yet, you're going to have to try and find a cancellation because everything's booked up. A lot of people bring their RVs out here, which is a great idea because on National Forest Service land, you can camp for free typically up to 14 days. And you don't have access to power or sewer or water, but you can stay there. So keep that in mind and try and be patient. I'll show you some signs they put out here in West to sort of encourage people to be patient. I'm going to try and catch up on some of these chats because I just saw a long one here. Awesome, you worked at Old Faithful. You guys are coming fast and furious. The background of this camera makes it really hard for me to see the chats. Let me see if I can fix that. Nope. All right, Dean, I saw that you had considered moving to West. I didn't catch the rest of it before it moved up. Tracy, you're going to have a great time. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. I actually live in Livingston. It's a great town. Check out Mark's In-N-Out for shakes and the Murray Bar for burgers. And I think you're going to have a great time. We're crossing Boundary Road here, and this is right on the edge of the park. So that right side is actually inside the national park. Thank you for that. Anyway. Yeah, lucky duck indeed. Morning, Mayor. Nice to see you here. So we're entering into West Yellowstone, and you can see a lot of these sort of older buildings. This one's abandoned, but it's an old log and stone building. I love these things. Look at that giant log. And then you've got some of these upgraded ones. Oh, really? Yeah, Tracy. Yeah, Mark's is great. We used to live right behind there. We lived danger close because we'd smell those fries cooking and know there were shakes right around the corner. Forgot where I was going. Oh, the old buildings. We're going to come up here on a really neat old building called Eagles. It's kind of a store and malt shop. But off to the left. Oh, thanks, Daly. Appreciate it. Glad you got out here. That's the IMAX building. They have an IMAX theater, and then behind that is the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center, where you can go see rescued wolves and bears that can't be out in the wild, and they have a home there. It's an educational place. The old building. Yeah, if Mark's is a place. Yeah, I think 3 months out of the year, although it's beautiful here in winter too. They get a ton of snow. Lots of people come here to snowmobile, but also to cross-country ski. And so Lots of great trails around here, lots of great skiing. You can ski into the park. They have a lot of regulations around snowmobiling in the park. But anyway, and then you got, the requisite t-shirt shops. And then this is a great little shop here, Freewheel and Heel. They are an outdoor shop, biking stuff. In the winter, they have cross-country ski stuff. You can get a coffee in there. Yeah, there is a pizza here, and can't remember the name of it right now, but we eat there all the time when we come through here. Eagles Curios Historic Soda Fountain. I just love this old style park log and shingle building and that great old retro sign. So they have fuel here, t-shirts of course, and then I'm just gonna duck in because I don't want to film too much without somebody's permission. But they've got this great old soda shop here, and they make great sodas. Classic old store. I love it. All right, sorry about the swervy jervy. I'm really shocked at how not crowded it is. Yeah, that's true, Dean. It gets pretty cold here. But if you're dressed for it, it's not that big a deal. We're coming up on Canyon Street. Now to the left, which is to the south, you've got a McDonald's and several hotels, the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center, the visitor information. Tom, I would say that's a little far, unless you're going to Grand Teton. I would say Island Park is plenty close. It's about a half hour away from here. Big Sky is fairly close. But Idaho Falls, I would say, is a little far. It's a pretty cool little town though. Across the way is the Yellowstone Historic Center and Museum. I've only been here when it's been closed, so I've never actually been in there all the times we've been here. Regular gas price, if I can look back and check, I'll show you here in a second. Let me see. It's 3 something a gallon. I can't convert that to liters, sorry. Yeah, Driggs is a great little town. They're getting hammered with visitors as well. Beautiful, beautiful place. I just filmed there and released that on Thursday. So check that one out if you're curious. This is Jacqueline's fly shop. Bob Jacqueline is a very well-known fly tyer and fly fisher. You bet, Tom. And he's a great guy, has all these wonderful stories. If you want to do some fly fishing, you can hire a guide, you can get your license, your gear, your flies, all that stuff around here. Fly fishing is a it's a great meditative act in my opinion. I'm going to pop out here into the road just to give you a better view of these storefronts before I walk along. Sorry about the panning. So you can see this sort of old style storefronts. Got the American flags out and all these trading companies and restaurants and gift shops. I'm surprised it's that cheap in San Francisco. Actually, I think of California as being about $1 or so more. So you can see these kind of neat gift shops with t-shirts and that sort of thing. Lots of carved wooden stuff. Try and not film too many people without their permission. Excuse me. Got the kind of this old mall looking place, and you've got a lot of taxidermied heads. Morning, Tom. Good to see you, man. Glad you could join us. I forgot to. I'm still figuring out the whole live streaming and getting the stream set up ahead of time, and then connecting it to the streaming software. I'll get that figured out someday. I don't want to admit what I ate actually. I popped into McDonald's. There are so many better places to eat in West Yellowstone, but I was in a hurry and it was easy. So I admit it, I ate fast food. One of the biggest challenges here in these gateway towns right now, all around Yellowstone and a lot of places in the West, is getting people to work, finding people that are willing to work these service jobs and the service wages for a brief amount of time. You know, it's 90 to 100 days is the season here. Yes, Billy, for sure, they've got to haul that fuel and everything into the park, so it does get a lot more expensive in there. Everything is. And sit-down dining, I believe, is not even open currently. So if you are going into the park, I highly recommend picnicking. Coming to the gateway towns, going to the to the grocery store, getting some food, and eating at a picnic table. You're going to have a better food and a more enjoyable, pleasant time with less time waiting in line. I love these old wood columns and log buildings. I'm going to pop out here again to get a better view of that. There's a police department across the way. I'm sure they have a lot of fun in the season. Hopefully I won't get run over here. I have done some walking in the UK and I would love to get back. I love this old wood log porch. You guys have such an amazing walking culture and access. I love it over there. Used to be because after the plaza. Oh, that's interesting. The county market in Livingston makes great fried chicken. Yeah, that's a great saloon. I think that you mean Town and Country County Market. I might be wrong about that. Here we got the Three Bear Lodge. Neat classic old wooden hotel. And I'm going to cross over again because I want to take a look at this building over here. Mainly because I can't remember what it is. But it's a neat old restaurant or dining hall, and we're going to take a look. Town and Country, yeah. That's where we do our shopping. They've got some good selection of natural and organic products, although the Albertsons down the way has brought in a lot of that stuff too, which is nice. The Dining Lodge. So they have a historic walking tour here. So there used to be a train that would come through here, and we're going to try and peek in the window. Here, it's Kelly Inn. Okay, thanks for that. I always have a hard time because the reflection gets in the way, but I love, you can kind of see here. Do that? All right. Isn't that nice in there? It looks like it's set up for a wedding or something. I love these giant windows, these old wood sides, and the stone columns and corners. Very cool. For those of you just joining us, welcome. My name is Henry. I'll be your proxy walker, your virtual travel guide, and we are in West Yellowstone, Montana. It really is, isn't it? I love it in there. Love these old classic national park style architecture. Old Faithful Lodge is a lot like this, but with more logs and stuff and way bigger. Well, I see you being jealous, but maybe it'll be inspiration to make your way over here and visit. I did not always live in Montana. I was born in Ohio. We lived out here when I was 1 till 7. We lived in Missoula. And then we lived in a little town called Ovando. Which is between Great Falls and Missoula. right down the road from Lincoln, Montana, where the Unabomber lived. We did not know him. And we moved back to North Carolina, where I grew up, and then back to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then I went off to school and did all that stuff. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've actually never been to Yosemite. My wife and kids have been several times. My wife grew up in California, so she went a lot as a kid, but I still haven't been, and I can't wait to make it there. So I mentioned the traffic the other day, a couple weeks ago. It was literally backed up to the Holiday Inn and feeder streets, people trying to get in so they could get in line. And I mean, they were gonna have a 2-hour wait, it seemed like. Maybe 1 hour, but still a lot. I'm gonna come over here and show you the bison. So a lot of these towns out west, as fundraisers and as kind of a unique thing, they get these, I think they're fiberglass statues made, a bunch of them. So here they do bison, in other places they'll do trout, and then they get local artists to decorate them. And so all around town you'll see different bison decorated in different ways, and it's really pretty cool. A lot of fun. Morning.
I see you taking pictures. Have you been to that museum across the street?
Not yet.
That's nice.
Oh, thanks. I'm live streaming actually.
Really nice.
Thanks so much. I love friendly people. So easy to be in our own heads and cranky, and people reach out and help each other. I love that stuff. All right, I gotta tilt this because I see a couple people I want to say hi. Wow, that's fantastic, Kayaking Kelly. Tom, yep. Solar's becoming a bigger deal here, but you know, it's a long winter, and I think there's a lot of inertia to doing things the way it's always been done. We're gonna come down here a little bit further, and then we'll do a big loop around. There's so much stuff here that I'd love to show you. Yeah, I agree with you about that, Kayaking Kelly. And Karen, sorry. We noticed that as well. But the U.S. is such a car culture that you can see we have these giant, wide roads and tons of parking spaces and highways. What we don't have in most places are good commuting options. We don't have a lot of great rail network. Back east we do, a little bit in California. But people love their cars. I think with the advent of electric bikes and that sort of thing, hopefully that'll change a little bit. We'll have more bike-friendly infrastructure. I said there's so much that I want to show you, and so I have to sort of pick which way to go, although we got plenty of time. I'm not in a hurry. But they have an adventure course behind this giant water tower, which looks about 110 years old. I have no idea what its actual age is. Is one of these ropes course adventure parks, and I've just changed my mind. I think you can kind of see it in the background. Looks like it's not really operating right now. But if you go down further, past all these hotels that would make you think they'd never run out of hotel rooms, although they do, there's an RV park, and there are cabins, which are kind of nice too. So I'm going to swing us around again. Now my shoe's completely untied. We have stayed at this Holiday Inn Express a couple times. It's a lot of fun. Great lobby in there. Not sponsored or anything, but we also stay at I think it's the Brandon Iron, which is closer to the highway, and I'll show you down there. That's a pretty good one too. I mean, not fancy, it's just decent. So for those of you with local knowledge, CHP, Community Health Partners, yes, there are Tesla charging stations here. A lot of people, not a lot, but quite a few Teslas, at least over in Livingston. You will see them around here. I think there are some charging stations in the park. And we're crossing. Anyway, Community Health Partners is this great health resource center for people with low income or uninsured. And they're a great advent for the community because although there are a lot of people moving to Montana with plenty of money, a lot of people here are scraping by on, it's hard. You typically have to have a couple jobs. So, greetings from Serbia. We spent 2 days in Belgrade and it was not enough. Would love to get back to Serbia. Welcome. Such a cool city, great country to see, and we took a cruise on the Danube. Beautiful. Narrow. That's true. Yeah, I do. And one of the things I have done is I've started to keep my laces, this is to Dean's comment, loose so that I can slip my shoes on and off easily, because we take our shoes off when we go inside our house. And anyway, I actually tied them up this morning. I just didn't do a very good job. So we're going to have more hotels here, and I'm going to point out a couple other things as we get up here to Madison. There are a lot of fishing. I talked about Jacqueline's. There's a couple different fly shops here. I think Bud Lilly's, he's another well-known fly fisher, angler. He's got a shop. There's several of them, and a lot of people fly fish the Madison River. They fly fish in the park, which requires a separate permit. And then they'll go into Idaho and maybe fish the Henry's Fork of the Snake. And it's just beautiful, beautiful water out here. Here's the Westwood Motel. And I don't know anything about it except that it's got a cool sign. I like that. All right. Well, maybe this is the one we stayed at, this Stagecoach Inn. I think that's the one. As you look down to the west here, in that direction. I did a walk near Laurel. I haven't been to Park City, but that's a beautiful area. They've probably got a lot of smoke right now. There's a Rogers Draw fire down there. I think that's the one that's down by Red Lodge. Oh, thanks so much, Mapco. I'm going to cross. We were on Electric Street. I'm going to cross down here towards the Stagecoach. I was saying back to the west is, northwest is the Hebgen Lake, which is a reservoir. I actually did do a walk in Belgrade, early morning walk. It was awesome. I loved it. So these guys, the Stagecoach Inns, they have a hot tub and a nice lobby and a restaurant. So in the winter, I mentioned a lot of snowmobilers come in here, and they'll have big snowmobile events, and they'll have big cross-country events, and lots of stuff going on. I think the Stagecoach Inn gives a free ticket with your stay for a breakfast across the street. Thanks for that information about the Stagecoach Inn. And we're going to just sort of wander around here. I will try to show you things of interest as we go around. Strangely enough, West Yellowstone, to the best of my knowledge, doesn't have a big grocery store. They have a couple small grocery stores, one of which is a supermarket up here ahead. I know how Belgrade got its name, I believe. It was named for Belgrade, Serbia. but it had a connection with, I think, an investor or a group of investors. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dean. I do know that Belgrade means the White City, and I also know that Belgrade is the largest city in Montana that's not a county seat. Daily. Oh, the Gusher. Hold on. So this is a pizza place, the Gusher. I haven't actually eaten there, but I met the daughter of the owner one time on a college course field trip down near Red Lodge. I've had skiing encounters with bison as we cross-country skied in the park, but basically you just go around them. Thanks, Dean. I think I got that right because I looked it up when I did that walk in Belgrade, Montana last year. The bison just want to be left alone. If you go up and try and pet them, there's no way you can outrun them. They are built to defend against wolves and bears. They've evolved that. So you and I are no problem, and they will throw you a long way. So be smart, please. Love these old storefronts. Ooh, biscuits and gravy. That's where I should have gone for breakfast. Next time. Oh, they even got their own food truck looking thing. So this person's out to go fishing. Yeah, cows actually can be really dangerous. I don't know how they are in the UK, but they tend to be almost wild here on the big ranches out west. They live out there with the coyotes and the other things. Not a lot of them live near wolves and bison, but some, bears, but some do. And they can be a little surly, especially when they all group up and charge at you. Every town out west seems to have a Chinese restaurant, which is awesome because otherwise it would all be burgers and grilled cheeses and stuff. I read that book too. I forget, was it A Long Walk or something, where he walked from the bottom to the top? That was a good book. Well, for breakfast, I would definitely choose biscuits and gravy. For dinner, pizza. Sushi place, but I have to admit I'd be a little leery of window sushi. Okay, we're getting back to Canyon Street again, which is also known as 191. You can see more of these shops geared towards visitors, restaurants. There's a biker shop, Park Plaza, but we're going to cross over because somebody mentioned the pizza place and it's down here. Let me see, up this way, see Big Sky's Angler's Trout Shop, and then you've got Bullwinkle's restaurant up there. My wife has eaten there. I haven't eaten there, but I've eaten in a couple different places down here. I don't mean to belittle anybody's restaurant. I'm sure it's fine. Anyway, Red Lotus up on the left is a Chinese restaurant, and it's sort of a higher end restaurant. The one we have in Livingston is sort of a takeout type place. You can sit down and it's great. Love those guys. But this one is higher end, really good. Highly recommend. I don't think they actually have a brewery, which now that I think of it is kind of surprising here in West Yellowstone. There is a Slippery Otter pub which serves higher end beers. Right now I'm headed east towards the park boundary, about a half block from the park boundary road. I mentioned Little Markets. This is another supermarket, a little bit bigger than the other one we saw. I'm going to pan over to show you Red Lotus. It's the restaurant I was referring to. Oh yeah, you're welcome. Happy to. Wild West Pizza, that's the one. They have great pizza, lots of cool photos inside, old photos and stuff. They've got a bar and a restaurant. So typically in Montana, if the bar serves food, then you can take your kids in until about 8 or 9 o'clock. I can't remember exactly. But, well, they said nobody inside the bar area under 21. I feel like we violated that before. Anyway, so if you see a bar that serves food, typically they will allow children. And they'll typically be family friendly because oftentimes that's the only restaurant in some of these small towns. I love these retro signs. I've said that before. Oh, we're up to 36 viewers. Awesome. This is the Dude Motel. Very cool. Lots of fun. And across the way, a little bit worse for wear, is the Roundup Motel sign. Also fun though. So I'll take you over here to the park boundary. We actually started our walk inside the Yellowstone National Park. And to film in the park commercially, and since my channel is monetized, it could possibly be construed as commercial. You used to have a special permit, but they had a court case recently that said that infringes on our freedom of speech. So unless you're doing something where you have to block stuff off, you no longer need a permit. There's the boundary line. Tom, yes, they did. A lot of trips. We lived in Montana, of course, and then a lot of trips back east and a lot of road trips. A lot of fun. The real estate market in Montana, one of my favorite topics to rant about. Oh, I love these Airstreams. The real estate in most places in Montana, especially Bozeman and Kalispell, is on fire. Not literally, but blowing up. So much increase in prices, it can be frustrating because, yeah, booming, there we go. That's the right word. You know, it's hard to keep up when someone can sell their 2-bedroom home on the coast for $1 million and come over here and buy a 4-bedroom home for $700,000 with acreage. And that same home 5 years ago cost $200,000 or $300,000. Not in Bozeman, but you know, I think it went up over $100,000 in 6 months last year, the average price. So that's crazy. And same with Driggs and Victor down outside of Jackson. Jackson, of course, has always been, not always, but for decades has been an amazingly expensive place to buy land and own a home. But now over the past in Driggs and Victor, people are moving over there because they can afford, or used to be able to afford, some housing. Yeah, it is, Karen. It's a tough situation, not just young ones, but anybody that's trying to get into the housing market. It's a real challenge, and it's a real problem out west. I mentioned the service industry folks. They've got no place to live, even to rent. You know, a homeowner can make a ton of money on VRBO, and you know, it's their property. Of course they're going to do that if they can make more than renting to a waiter, you know, or bartender. Yeah. So this is the Pony Express RV Park right here in town. Typical in-town RV park, small spots, but they have actually got trees, which is nice. And you're going to want shade if you come out here. The sun we're really close to the sun. not as much atmosphere between us. And we're coming up on the Brandon Iron, which is where we typically would stay. And what is the... I'll get to that in just a second about the bicycle policy. But they've got surprisingly, shockingly good internet at the Brandon Iron. And that's important to somebody uploading videos. So, Tom, the bicycle policy is you can ride anywhere a car can go. There are a couple paved paths that you're allowed to ride your bikes on. And electric bikes can go anywhere that regular bikes are allowed. However, I saw a guy bike packing this morning coming out of the park. The roads are extremely narrow. Many of the drivers are extremely bad. And I would be very leery of doing a bike packing tour through the park. Plus, it's a long way between services. So, I mean, I wouldn't be worried about wildlife, but I would definitely be worried about getting hit by a car. Yeah, hopefully they will stabilize. It's unfortunate, though. One of the things we love about Yellowstone about Montana is how empty it is. And to see more suburbs being built can be a little disheartening. But that's the way it is. That's the nature of the world. So can't rant too much about that. I'll tell you what's a disaster is the drought. That's the one to happen. I'm a little worried about this year's fire season. This is a Slippery Otter pub. We eat there a lot. They have good beers, good burgers, that sort of thing. And the reason I mentioned the fires, well, which way should we go? We're gonna go back this way. No, we're gonna cross over first. Where is your city? I'm trying to read your name here. Hydro Hose. I'd love to know. June is usually a rainy month here. That's when we get a lot of our rain, May and June. We've already had two. I'm great, thanks so much. We've had 2 spells of 90-degree weather, lots of 80-degree weather. It's going to be in the 80s today. And we've already had 2 fires, one over by Red Lodge, one by Townsend up near Helena. And it's not, and then usually the rain shuts off at around July 4th. So it's going to be a dry year. And then looking at the Southwest and California, their situation is pretty dire as well. And we get a lot of smoke from those fires. Cedar Valley, Iowa. Wow, my physical therapist. I got a shoulder issue. He's from Iowa. He just moved out here last year. Madison River Outfitters. They're a fly shop, I believe. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna just show you this bush so I can read this. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to read, but the sidewalk is so bright with white text that it's really hard. Very bad this year too, yeah. I know Mammoth had a big fire last year too. We were there in August and it blew up just not long after we left. Is Yellowstone as crowded as the parks in Utah? I don't know. The parks in Utah are a little bit smaller. They don't have quite the same access as we do. And so I can't really answer that. I would imagine that they're not as crowded in the heat of summer. But Yellowstone is very crowded. Wow, that's very poetic. Hydro Hose. Interesting. We're going to go back out here. I just wanted to show you that bison, another example of the bison. and Canyon Square, and then, as we often do, I'm going to cut you back because we're going to go to Highway 20 and cut west back towards Idaho, and Idaho Falls, Island Park, that area. You may remember a couple weeks ago, did Max Inn and Big Springs. That was over that way. I love the signs out here. I want to find those too, and I just passed one. But here's one on a trash can, and these are bear safe trash cans. These are the types you'll see in the park. And what happens is you have to reach in there, and there's a little lever. So you push the lever and you lift up. But if you don't push the lever, the bears can't get in. And actually, at the Grizzly Wolf and Discovery Center, they'll do IGBC testing, or International Grizzly Bear Commission or something, to test products to see if they're bear safe. They'll put them in there with the grizzlies, and the grizzlies will pound on them and quite often smash them apart. And then they evaluate the designs to see if see how they do. Now, somebody asked earlier about fuel costs, and it looks like regular unleaded is $3.24 and diesel is $3.54. So I'm glad we got to see that. I would totally agree with that, Kayaking Kelly. Beautiful time of year. The elk are out bugling, and they're in the rut. And as long as you don't get too close to them in Mammoth, they're a lot of fun to watch. All right. October is also quite beautiful. You're starting to get a lot of color in the trees, but you're also getting a lot of cold. Yellowstone, you know, most of it's around 7,000 to 8,000 feet of altitude, so it's pretty high. You can see a lot of the traffic coming through West Yellowstone. A lot of these people are going to the park. A lot of them are going up to Bozeman, and this sort of thing. I'm trying to keep track of all your comments, but you guys are so vociferous. It's great. Yeah, exactly about the statue. No, there's no stupid questions. The rest of the Montana state is considering drastic measures to protect the brown trout. Upper Yellowstone River is included. This time all options are on the table, including closures. Yes, about the trout, our water flows are really early this year. They've already started to subside. Usually we wouldn't float the Yellowstone. I wouldn't float the Yellowstone much before July. This year it's already well below that level. The waters get warm and they will close fishing. We call them, I think, hoot owl restrictions. They'll close fishing during the middle of the day when the water is warmest, just to try and work on the trout. I haven't heard about any actual closures yet. It also makes them weak and susceptible to disease. So hopefully we don't get to that. Across the way is a big municipal park. It's about a city block. Picnic tables, playgrounds, sports fields, all that stuff. Great place to picnic. Great place to let your kids run around and blow off some steam. Sorry, I'm trying to read these. Is that? And I've got West Croft. Nice to meet you. I think Yellowstone Park's amazing. No doubt about it. Incredible place. Massive, massive park. The speed limit is 45 miles an hour. People often underestimate how long it takes to get around these places, to various places, and they're like, oh, I'll just go up, pop up for two days, and you're just not going to see a large amount of the park at that time. I'm going to go around. Everybody's on their phones looking at their maps probably. Definitely download, offline maps if you come to Montana and Idaho and that sort of place. We have pretty good cell service considering, but it does get spotty, so keep that in mind. Got the Crosswinds Inn, the One Host Motel, and the White Buffalo down that way. And if you look back to our left, you'll see the Stagecoach Inn. Yellowstone Adventures rents quad bikes, and in the winters they rent snow machines. The Montana ecosystem sounds. I'll get back to that, Tom. Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know how to answer that question because it's like any ecosystem. If you change the inputs drastically, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a challenge to all the species, plant and animal, that have evolved for a certain set of criteria. And if you change that on them, they're not as easy, they're not as able to thrive and survive. So where to next? We're gonna go to Great Falls later in the week. Actually, I'm gonna take my boys backpacking for 2 nights in the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness area along the Stillwater River, which I filmed in January. I don't know if I'll be able to film walks with them there, but we'll see. And I'm gonna film later today the Gallatin River Trail, which I filmed in January, and show you a summer view of that. And Ouzel Falls up near Big Sky, which I did in January as well, in the snow, and I'm going to show you a summer view of that. I kind of like these cabins here, the Bucking Moose cabins. Let me see if I can catch up on some of your comments here. I love getting these comments, but I'm a little... So if you had a wife who doesn't want to camp in a tent, any recommendations where to go after a year or two come? Really don't want to travel to end up in a... Yeah, I would say September and October, especially if you don't have kids that have to be in school, come out here on the shoulder season. If you want, the roads don't really open up fully until May. You'll see more bears coming out in May. If you want to do the north side and see wolves in winter, it's a good time. You can get, there's usually plenty of capacity then. My English teacher's name is also Henry. Oh, really? That's fascinating. Tell him I said hi. Growing up, I was the only person I knew named Henry other than my dad. Since then, I've met quite a few dogs named Henry, and a couple kids, but not a lot, so that's cool. To answer your question again, if you don't want to sleep in a tent, I totally get that. The shoulder season, or planning well ahead. If you plan for 2022, you might start to be able to find some accommodations. Oh my gosh, I cannot read this. This is for the great info. You bet. Try and... I can't. I'm gonna cross over in front of this person. Got a big rig. We're gonna have a hard time coming out. I'm walking up here because I want to show you one of the restaurants that's well known here, called Ernie's. And I think they shut down for a while due to the pandemic, but well, that's Napa. That's not Ernie's. I see it up there. Anyway, they're open again now, so that's great. Oh my gosh, I need my glasses, is what I need. Thanks for joining us, and give Rex our best. Let me see if I can do this. Nope, that's not going to do it. Oh my gosh, I can't read the screen. I'm sorry, guys. I'll try to get down here into some shade or something. Look at this big Montana there, big RV. I kind of want one, but they are a lot to haul around. And they're expensive as heck. That's true. I would love to get up British Columbia. The border is still closed. I read today that they have extended the restrictions. I think Canada is having a surge maybe, and also they don't have as many vaccines as we do down here in the States. I'm glad to see now that pretty much everybody that wants a vaccine can get a vaccine here in the States, aside from their personal access, meaning they got to work or they might not be able to take a time off for the after effects of the second vaccine, which isn't bad, but definitely we felt kind of crummy the next day, but just sort of lazed around. And the US is starting to give away excess vaccines, which I'm happy to see. Oh, the Maine coast would be amazing. I've been there 20 years ago. I would love to get back. If you have an Instagram account, share it in the comments section below, and I'll check back later. Love to see photos of that. All of you guys, check us out on Instagram. I have actually posted to Instagram in a couple weeks. We've been on the road a lot. But we are under CityWalks_virtual travel on there, and we have Facebook and Twitter and all that fun stuff. But mainly, I'm glad you guys joined us today. You can see the traffic coming in here. It's not as backed up as it was, but still pretty cool. So, Ernie's, great sandwiches. You can get to go sandwiches and stuff there and take it with you into the park, which is a great solution. Bears, and this says you get your lobster roll. I love a lobster roll. Bears in the city. I'm going to turn around and go back this way. So in West Yellowstone, absolutely, right on the border. I mean, it's not a common occurrence, but I think in the fall, we get black bears in Livingston. They get them a lot in Bozeman. About 10 miles north of town at Baker's Hole Campground, they had a guy surprised a bear, and he got really injured, and then he passed away in the hospital, unfortunately. And that's a sad, sad thing. For some reason my phone is not bright. Anyway, so grizzly, they do get bears in town, and if people tend to be really good about keeping their trash and their bird seed and all the attractants, their dog food, all the attractants locked up and away to not encourage, not reward bears coming into town. But these restaurants have fryers, and the smells are wonderful. So bears think so too as we cross Firehole Street here, and we're going to come down. Get off this main drag when we can. So yeah, they're definitely around. Oh my gosh. What is your favorite? Ooh, good question. I love a good bookstore. In Livingston, Elk River Books they sell used books, and they're actually moving right now to a new location. So they're not open, but they will be later in the month. And Wheatgrass Bookstore and Gifts are great bookstores. Also Saxon Friars in Livingston. But I think my favorite is in Bozeman, and it's the Country Bookshelf downtown. They have wonderful staff that can help you find books. They've got great author events that they bring in, and it's just a really cool store. So if you come to Bozeman, give them a visit. Buy a couple books. They do a great job. Somehow the brightness on my phone has decreased, and I don't know how to change it while I'm walking. So I'll just have to make do for now. So, two things to learn: how to turn up the brightness and how to block people that are spamming the chat. Luckily that person left, I think. Back on electric, and I guess we'll go down one more block to try and cross I think you're right. I think it's auto. It is, the brightness is auto darkening because of the sunlight, but I don't know how to change that. We are always learning. That's the joy of doing this, and of travel, and of, I don't know, living life, I guess. Always learning new things, always discovering. That's exciting stuff. Listen to how quiet that truck is. I love it. That's true for sure. This, but just don't know how. So we'll do this. Maybe that'll do something. No. Yeah, bucking moose again. That's true. Life is beautiful. We have but a brief moment on this earth, so let's enjoy it and help others do the same. I'm sorry, I got a Chico, California. Awesome. That's exactly right. Welcome from Chico. That's exactly right. It is one of the reasons we travel. We want to learn about other people, about other cultures. Here's one of the many signs they've put up. I think that's such a great idea. Just a reminder to be patient, be cool, be kind. Very simple message, but absolutely spot on. Well, welcome from Korea. Hi Jay, thank you. Welcome. Let's go over to the park briefly. And see if we can do that without getting run over. Get a gap. Nice. And I'll show you the park. And we'll get a little shadow so I can read some of your comments again. And I've said this before, and it's absolutely true. You know, making these videos and doing these live streams, I thought it would just be a good way to spend some time originally. You know, I was going to be in these places anyway. I like to walk. Why not film it? What I didn't expect was how much I enjoyed interacting with you guys. It's a lot of fun to speak to people in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, share these places with you, and to you know, get to know some of you and to hear your questions and to answer your questions. So there's some kids playing up here. I'm not going to film them, but I do want to show you. It looks like you know, people cannot keep up, or the services can't keep up with the sheer amount of people here and refuse. So that is obviously not bear safe. John, thanks for joining us. We'll see you later. All of you. Yeah, you bet, guys. I don't think this is just a bad behavior. I think that trash is just nowhere else to put it, and the services haven't come by yet. I have considered riding a bike in Montana. I haven't, on my tours, I haven't figured that out yet, and it's, you know, we are so busy this month and the last couple months traveling and doing other work that I'm going to just show you, without showing the kids too much, the playground. And it's one more thing I have to figure out. I have a bike. My wife got me a bike, and I'm excited. Trying to find a couple bikes for a couple other bikes, which is really hard right now. And I'd like to do that. I think that's a lot of great trails. The homeless situation in Montana, it varies drastically. Missoula has I would say has a sizable homeless population. I think Billings maybe, and possibly Great Falls. You know, you have a big population. There's going to be a certain amount of people, unfortunately, that are homeless and suffer from various mental illnesses, addictions, and other things. Sometimes they just are in a spell of hard luck where they they have health issues, or they have other economic job issues that they just can't make it, and it's really sad. There are a lot of services for them here in these cities, not by the state so much, but by the cities themselves. It's a very complicated problem without a simple solution, unfortunately. All right, so we're going to head over this way, and we're going to go back down along the boundary and make our way around. The best time of year to visit Montana, any time but April and May, March. If you like winter, we got great snow in most places, especially on the western side. Great skiing, great cross-country skiing, great snowshoeing. You can visit the north side of the park. That road's open all year, out to Cook City, and all sorts of fun stuff to do. The fall is wonderful. You get animals starting to get in the rut. You've got colors changing. The crowds come down a little bit, and you got cooler temperatures. And of course, summer is beautiful. I mean, here we are in June. Everything's green and beautiful. You can float the rivers. You can fish. You can fish in the winter too, of course. And the reason I say anytime but May and April is because that's what we call mud season, where the snow is still there, but not enough of it to ski on, really, unless you hike up and do some backcountry skiing. And the trails are too muddy to really walk on. So this is Bud Lily's Blue Ribbon Flies, or used to be Bud Lily's. So that's usually, it's also the end of this winter, and you've already had 4 months of winter. You're ready to get out of here. So we usually head down south for a little week or two. If you need a veterinary, here's a veterinary hospital. Hopefully you won't. All right, just trying to read this. How health should lead in homicide? Who is that? Sorry. Unknown. In the U.S., we have a very different health insurance system than other places. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. It's very expensive to have health care here. And then if you have mental health issues, you may not be able to make the best decisions. And I'm not an expert in this. This is just sort of casual learning that I've picked up, and I don't mean to be an expert, but it's an issue. So I wish I had a better solution. Sorry, Henry, my dinner is ready. Oh, well, have a great dinner. Thank you so much for joining us. I will try to pay more attention to the traffic, but I depend on the kindness of strangers. Most people don't want to hit me, and I keep an eye out. Remember, I'm looking around while the camera may not be. So I do like to get out in the middle of the road and show you a better view of things, though. Look at the wind has torn off the roof of this place. Peeled it back. I don't think of West Yellowstone as being that windy. They definitely get some big storms throughout the year. But it was definitely windy in the canyon, the Gallatin Canyon this morning. All right, I kind of like this sign, so I'm going to show it to you. You got guys. I did close on the house yesterday. We're staying in Livingston, but we're going to travel. In fact, we've got tickets for Japan in February, which we will change if the situation doesn't improve. And then we're back to Boundary Road here. I'm watching out for traffic. Don't worry. Thank you for your concern. You know what? We've been down that way. We're going to go down this way, even though I didn't bring my bear spray. And I'm going to try and read these comments again. Is Gardner your favorite? Can you tell me more about your experience? It's Brad we liked when you went through online. Okay, yeah, Gardner's a great little town, very crowded. They just had a fire last year that destroyed 3 restaurants. They didn't have that many to begin with, so be cool, be patient, be kind if you go. It's a great way to access the town. It's one of the less busy gateway towns. So that's nice. There's a lot of stuff up in Paradise Valley to do. You can do whitewater rafting in the Yellowstone. It's a great place. Highly recommend Gardner. Try the K-Bar Pizza, the K-Bar. They've got great pizza. And then a couple doors down, I'm blanking on the name, but it's a hotel and restaurant. They have really good food too. And of course, try other places as well. I was kind of hoping these woods would film a little better, but the contrast is so extreme that I can't read anything, and it's kind of blowing out. So I will show you these signs, and then we'll turn around and head back into town. Yeah, these walks are great, Tom. I definitely look forward to them. Yeah, Yellowstone, Tiffany, you should definitely get out here if you can. Just plan ahead. My wife has, Traveling Mel, has a Facebook group dedicated to helping people plan their travels out here, share information, and sort of share photos and all that fun. It's a great group. It is private, but just ask to join and answer the questions, and you'll get a lot of great information if you decide to come out here. Here's some signs. So these Frontier Trail, Boundary Trail, those are cross-country trails. And I think I saw a sign. Yeah, area closed to snowmobiles. So that's kind of nice. Are mosquitoes a problem here? And then what's your favorite town? East of Billings. Mosquitoes can be a very big problem here. For about a month in western Montana, where it's wetter, you get a lot worse mosquitoes, and they can be a real problem, especially the west side of Glacier. Bowman Lake, we just got hammered. Favorite town east of Billings is going to be either, there's some great towns out there, probably Miles City or Glendive. Both great towns. Glendive has a great state park out there called, I know this one, Dinosaurs and Badlands area. It's super cool. Where do you recommend living? Okay, so a couple questions there about snowmobiles. 4-stroke snowmobiles are still required. You still have to go, I believe you still have to go with a guide. I think they're upping the number of permits, but don't quote me on that. Outside of the park, it's open season. Do whatever you want, apparently. Living in Montana, the whole state is beautiful. I prefer the mountains, so the western side is really nice. The biggest problem is going to be housing costs, honestly, and employment. Yogi Bear, there are definitely a lot of bears. On that Facebook group, people have been posting pictures. One person was all excited to see bears, hadn't seen them, and then was pulling into a parking lot, or was stuck in a parking lot, and 10 feet away a black bear with cubs walked by. So there's definitely a lot of bears around here, but pack away your picnic baskets. Don't reward them for trying to steal. Cross-country skiing is wonderful in the park, and I think it gets a bad rep a little bit or the idea that you have to be super fit to do it. And certainly skate skiing, which is a style of cross-country skiing, that's pretty vigorous stuff. But regular classic cross-country skiing, it doesn't take much, right? It's not nearly as, doesn't require the same skills that downhill skiing does. It doesn't require the same level of effort. You can go slow, you can go fast. It's a great way. Yeah, tourism around the parks at least is booming. Jackson, Grand Teton, and I think Devil's Tower is, or Great Bear, I can't remember what that's called, the native people there call it. All that stuff is doing really well right now. I don't think you will see gambling machines in stores here without a casino license. But there are a ton of these little micro casinos. So that's interesting. I went to Billions and they had gambling machines everywhere in the stores. I don't want to attribute one cause, certainly. I think there are all sorts of addictions. I don't think casinos probably contribute much to homelessness. I think there are more severe causes to that. But certainly they are a way to mine a certain class of people. I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah. 32 people. I love seeing you guys come to these walks. Oh, and we're at an hour 22 minutes. Wow. It's been fun. I didn't realize we'd spent that much time doing this. This is great. I'm having a good time. One thing you want to do when you come to these gateway towns is fill your gas tank. They do have gas stations in the park. Someone commented earlier, it is much more expensive. The food is much more expensive. There are a lot more lines, longer lines. If you want to go to the grill at the areas, you're going to probably have lines out the door around meal times. Go into the woods. Okay, I will. It was hard to film in there because of the contrast, but I'll try it. And I just want to read one or two things. Henry, what are the... Chennai, welcome, thank you. Missoula's about, I'm going to guess 4 hours from here. I have no idea rental prices right now. Depends on the town, it depends on the quality of the apartment, etc. So I wish I could give you more information on that. Yeah, we're in the national park here. We're in the forest, and I'm not really worried about wild animals, but I would definitely, because I'm talking and I'm making noise, so I'm not likely to surprise anything. If I were just walking, I would be a lot more careful. And even around, because there's so many attractants in town, even though people do a good job of keeping them contained, there's restaurants I mentioned earlier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are probably bears within the region, and they don't mean us any harm, but if you bump into one, they might get a little scared and react poorly. Now, if I walk to my left, to the east, I would hit the Madison River, which is a beautiful mountain river, and you take that into Madison Junction, and you get into the loop road, and are there any snakes in the woods? I'll get to the snakes issue in just a second. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful drive. You're not up high seeing grand mountain vistas, but there are mountains on either side. You'll often see elk, you'll see wild waterfowl, probably bison, maybe eagles, etc. Look at this deadfall up here. There are snakes. My favorite suit in the video game, Far Cry 5. Are you showing? I hope we're not showing you any grizzly bears, not up close. There's one venomous snake in Montana. It's the prairie rattler. I do not think they live in this area. I could be wrong. Certainly, there's a funnel web spider there. Not the Australian version, but a funnel web nonetheless. We do have some bees and a lot of sometimes mosquitoes, but not much here. With your wife, somewhere lots of wells. Oh, that's a great idea. Sorry about the thing there. I've thought about doing tandem walk with some other guides. In Gardner, I'll get to that, Tom. There's Ashia who does these video tours versus Hago. On Hago, down out of Yellowstone. And then there's a lady that I want to walk with around Livingston who just has a ton of knowledge. And then maybe find some other folks. Let me see here. Ooh, I also love Far Cry 5. All right. Favorite town out west? Ooh, Livingston. I live there. It's awesome. I love it. Lodgepole Mountain Law Builders make magic around there and through the big sky. Yeah, so all these pine trees are Pinus contortus, which would imply that they're contorted, but I think if you look at them, it's because their trunks twist. But they're lodgepole pine. They grow very straight. It's very nearly a monoculture. So not a lot of other stuff grows here. You can see, here I'll reach down and show you some of the soil here. You can see how sandy that is, right? It's just, there's not a lot of nutrients in it. It's volcanic sand, volcanic stuff, right? This is all big volcano. And so it's really hard for plants to grow here. Lodgepole does it, named of course because they would be used for teepee poles and lodges. Yeah, lodgepole. What else can I tell you about the woods around here? I am surprised at how few squirrels there are around. They do have them. Oh, look at that. So, I want to show you the pollen here. Hold on. See that? I hope you guys don't have allergies. Hello from Iran. Welcome, Mahdi. Thank you for joining us. Or Tales and Lakes of the Seas. You know what? I have considered not driving. There's a lot of driving channels out there. That niche is sort of filled. They do a great job. I have thought about doing them floating tours because we raft a lot, or some, not as much as we'd like probably. Yeah, these are lodgepole pines. So I think I would love to do like a live stream or at least a recorded video tour of floating the Yellowstone. We did the Smith. There's a lot of other stuff going on. I'm never floating by myself. It's always with the family and kids, so I'd have to figure out a way to do that. And they don't mind being on camera. We have a Traveling Mel YouTube channel. They're happy to be on that, or at least I make them be on it. So we could do that. I just filling that time with something of interest is where my innovation is. Hitting a bit of a wall. There's a park ranger. Oh, missed him. Please drive the speed limit when you go in the park. It's 45. It's really slow. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. It's there for safety of not just people but animals. Every year, a certain number of bears get killed by cars, wolves get killed by cars. coyotes and foxes and marmots, all these little animals that are supposed to have this natural place to live and for us to enjoy and experience, they don't do well with cars. So Tahoe, Yellowstone, or Glacier. Ooh, Santa Cruz. Yeah, Dude Motel. I love the sign too. Let me see here. Tahoe, Yellowstone, Glacier is pretty amazing. I have to say that. It's a pretty epic place. They've instituted a ticketing system for the going to the Sun Road because of pressure, and I think we are also going to see ticketed entry at some point here in Yellowstone if these numbers continue. So I'm sorry, I'm going to scroll back here. So that's the answer to that. I would love to do Santa Cruz when I get back to California. Okay, so this is West Yellowstone, Montana. It is the west entrance to Yellowstone National Park. Not far along to the east is the Wyoming border, because Yellowstone is primarily in Yellowstone, and then a little bit in Idaho, a little bit in Montana. Idars Croft. What's the local time here? Well, I started at a little after 9, so that makes it 10:30, 10:45 a.m. And when we started, I would say it was about 60 degrees. It's warmed up considerably, probably in the 70s. Now, here's some folks that have been out running. Looks like a great trail to run on. Can you? I would love to get over to Devil's Tower. How y'all doing?
You want me to smile?
I do. We're live streaming. Run faster.
Okay.
Have a good one. Yeah, it's in the morning. I would love to do one at Devil's Tower. I'd love to get over into North Dakota and South Dakota. I did do a walk in Deadwood, a 360, which I turned into a flat one as well. It's a long ways away. Yeah, right. I love it when people are pleasant and willing to join in. I have had very few people ever approach me. I've had a lot of people wave and honk the horn and give a little hoot. I think, where was we? We were in Helena, and I stopped and talked to a guy about the bike shuttle there. He was a good sport. Yeah, she's a hoot, huh? So you can see we are 300 or 400 yards, 300 or 400 meters away from all the crowds, all the bustle, all the activity, and we have this trail almost to ourselves. Yeah, there are a lot of chipmunks, and in fact, in Glacier, one of the rangers was telling us that the animal that causes the most injuries in Glacier are chipmunks and squirrels or something like that, because people feed them and then they get bitten. My wife and sons last year were driving the Beartooth. They stopped at a pullout and to have a little snack, and the chipmunks almost bullied them out of the position. They were very bold and very aggressive. So they're cute, but don't feed them because they'll get chunky and they'll be a delicious meal for someone else, and they might bite you. We do have ground squirrels here. I assume they're around in this area. Definitely have them in town in Livingston. Sometimes called gophers. Jackson, I think they call them chislers. And we also have, out close to the prairie, we have blacktail and whitetail prairie dogs, which have these massive towns, and they're absolutely silly. There's a meme of prairie dog chirping, because they sit up and they do these warning chirps, and the towns are really loud, and it's like Alan, 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 just repeating this name, and it's kind of funny. It's one of my faves. Anyway, Probably didn't want to hear about that. What? Yes, I would say that's true about the chipmunks being squirrels, but there are a lot of chipmunks in these woods, and I didn't see the animals, so I can't really tell you if it was one or the other. I took a mammals course, and it was the one I remember is something tridecimilialis, the 13-line chipmunk. There's also a Uinta ground squirrel and some other varmints. Well, so for those of you not joining, we are in Yellowstone National Park right now, and this is called the Riverside Trail. I think I'm going to turn us around and head us back to town because I think it's fairly far before we get to where I want to go, which is back to pavement. So we'll just meander our way back. AFB, I assume that means Air Force Base, and there is Malmstrom up in Great Falls. It's a big one, and I think they have a missile command up there. It's an alternative landing area for the shuttle, or when we used to have the shuttle. It's a pretty big deal up in Great Falls, big economic driver. Large part of the population is Air Force and military. And a lot of nuclear missile silos in the countryside in central Montana, especially around Lewistown, which have I done a walk in Lewistown? I may not have. It's in central Montana, great little ranching town. Gosh, I feel like I have, but maybe not. And you drive between there and Great Falls and all those Great Plains. You'll drive around, you'll see these sort of fenced off squares with some buildings, maybe a Humvee with a machine gun on top, and those are missile silos. And every once in a while, I've seen them like these big convoys when they're moving stuff around, undisclosed objects around, and it's a little ominous to think about, but such is the world we live in. Nope, I was never in the Army. I think North Dakota is also missile silo country. To answer your question, no need to apologize. I have not served in the military in any capacity. My father was in the Navy a long time ago, but I have not. This time of year, I think North Dakota would be great to visit. It can get, like eastern Montana, which some people might refer to as West Dakota, is high plains. It's really dry, tends to be. North Dakota's a little wetter, I think, and I would love to go around and film some of those great North Dakota towns to show you guys, well, for instance, what the Bakken is like. It's calmed down a lot, I think, but for a while it was a boom town, like oil boom town. And Fargo and Bismarck, and there's another one like Williston and Teddy Roosevelt National Park. That's a great park. Great story from there when his old ranch after his wife died. His first wife, I guess. What else we got here? I'm getting a little pollinated here and might have to sneeze. Pardon my sniffles. Look at these tiny little lupins. I'm just going to show you these flowers if I can. All right. I love lupin. All right, nope, no farms here. Ranches. That is actually a hotel, part of West Yellowstone, right on the edge of the park here. And we're about 70 yards away. And off to our left, go this way actually. This is the access road to Yellowstone. You can see the traffic over here. This might be an old boundary line, these posts, right? Wow, there's a lot of pollen in the air. These pine trees are just dumping pollen. Lupins are overtaking Iceland. Oh, I would love to get to Iceland. Traveling Mel might murder someone to go to Iceland. It's way, way, way high on our travel bucket list. I would love to do a walking tour of Reykjavik. I was following somebody for a while and I haven't seen him post in a bit, but they were doing walking tours. They were Icelandic. Oh, look at this, is disappointing. This trash. And if I had a bag, I'd pick it up, but I don't. Maybe I'll come back. Iceland, absolutely amazing country. Oh, would love to go visit. So this is, I don't know what highway this is, but you can see the traffic just sort of slowing down to get in. And then there's, just around the corner is the, big one, is the entry kiosk, and looks like it's going fairly efficiently today. I was kind of a little bit, what is that called? It's called, anyway, kind of hoping to show you guys crazy traffic, but it's just not happening today, which is great. Nielsen, about a month ago, she was prized below Asian population. Yes, so when you are in Yellowstone, you will hear the, that's ravens. They're all over the place. They're beautiful birds. We've been conditioned to think of them, or I have. When you're having your picnic, birds, or the there's a up. Some wildlife. Maybe historic. I copy. I'm going to wrap this up so the compression algorithm. But let me know if that can. Look at this giant RV here. Oof. To be in software administration, software development, I always used to say computers are the greatest invention ever until they don't work. Then they're the worst. So frustrating. But hopefully we're getting this working again. Up connection, yeah. Yeah, I think the connection is slow. Somebody has, look at this kind of fun flower box. Good, well, hi there. Somebody mentioned the Kelly Inn earlier. Hi there. And I'll show you that and some cabins. the type of cabins you can expect out here. And then we'll go over to the Grizzly Wolf Discovery Center. We won't go in because I don't have permission to film. Great, thanks guys for that feedback. And if the audio, last time the audio was being weird, and I can't monitor the audio, so it was good to hear that kind of thing. So the Kelly Inn, whoa, sorry, took a little slip there. Kelly Inn is back there, and then there's some these little tiny Hoban cabins, and there's a bunch more back behind, well, back along that way, down that road, and then also, I think, back behind Grey Wolf Inn and Suites. But we're gonna continue on down here. I don't know if you can see it. Welcome. Can't see your name. From Russia, welcome. Thanks so much. I think it was a squirrel. I don't know which species. I should be better about that. But yeah, but in the horizon, I don't know if you can see the yellow tint. Use a iPhone Plus. Yeah, let me say the horizon. It's yellow from all the pollen in the air. But the Prism, I think the max I can upload is 1080, and I can't figure out how to get that. I think it might be limited by my cell service plan, and the cell. We don't have 5G here. We do have 4G, so I would think it would work, but. Awesome, good memories. Well, there is a McDonald's here. We just passed it. It's fairly tastefully decor, and it gets very, very busy. But yeah, not a lot of them here. Now, somebody earlier was asking about Tesla superchargers or charging stations. Here's a neat statue. I'll have to look into how to do 4K upstream. One of the issues is my cell plan, and I got 15 gigs, but 4K I feel like might be pushing. If you can put into comments any info on how to upload 4K, I would appreciate it. Now here's 2 Teslas plugged in, lots of charging stations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you need to charge your Tesla, here you go. John W. Davis. Nice today with you. Welcome. Thank you very much. One of my favorite spots in Europe, or walks in Europe, was in St. Petersburg. Amazing city. So I'm going to get out of the way here, but because people are about to run. This is the Grizzly Wolf Discovery Center. I just want to talk about this real quickly. It's an educational place, and they are basically a rescue for wolves and bears that cannot be released into the wild. Either they were a problem breaking into places, or were injured and couldn't be released back in the wild, or habituated for some reason. Or maybe they were in a zoo and they were going to be put down. Now they've got an educational center. I think I got the information on that correct. And one of the cool things is, at least in the winter, you can do these birthday prize parties. We did this with my son, and they can go in, they put the bears away, and then they let the kids out into the pen with food that they can hide all around the enclosure. Then they take the kids out and let the bears out, and the bears get to look around and find the food and dig around. And it's an enrichment activity for them, and a lot of fun for the kids. So it's a great thing. So this is the Admission not-for-profit wildlife park. And obviously I'm not going to go in because I don't have permission to film inside or even in fact here. This is kind of a fun little display. So the one on the left is a grizzly. Notice the hump and the face. And the one on the right is a black bear, and notice the rump. So that's how you tell. So we are, oh my gosh, we're at 1 hour 50 minutes. You can hear the ravens calling. I love them, so cool. We'll see if we can get a better view. But 1 hour 15 minutes, I think that's pretty good. They're up here somewhere. There it is. You hear him? That was it. Oh, the big bear behind me. So that's the raven. Very cool. Spatches. So what is going on there? Another bear. Those are just displaying the differences between a black bear and a grizzly bear, because black bears aren't always black. Sometimes they can be cinnamon colored, light brown. They can be dark black or variations. And up in Alaska, there's some that are even white. So that is that about the bears. Oh, this pollen is heavy. Here's the IMAX movie theater. If you want to come and see an IMAX movie about Yellowstone. And there. And I think at 1 hour and 52 minutes or whatever it is, we're gonna wrap this up. I want to thank all of you guys for coming out and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes, you can go to the Discovery Center. I can't take you there on this particular trip. I think it would be a fun thing to do in the future. Someone mentioned doing a sort of a walk. I think I bet I could get us in there with a guide maybe to tell us about it and walk us around. I will put that on my very long to-do list, but that's a great idea. Yeah, you guys, thank you all for joining us, especially those of you who caught me early. I didn't really do an announcement. I'm trying to get better about that, but my schedule is fairly unpredictable, and I haven't had time to really figure it out, the details of how to best do this. I know Action Kid did a video recently about how he does his, and he has 2 phones, and I could borrow my son's phone and maybe do it that way. But thank you guys from West Yellowstone, Montana, gateway to Yellowstone National Park. Oops. Isn't it ironic that those alarms are almost always set off by the owners? And I appreciate all your comments, all your questions, and your chat and your memories and sharing and all your positivity. I hope you guys who haven't been out to Yellowstone get a chance to come. Hope those of you who have get a chance to come back. It is an amazing park. Plan ahead. Check out travelingmel.com for Yellowstone tips. Check out her, look for her Facebook page for sharing information and getting your questions answered. And you guys take care of yourselves and each other, as somebody used to say. And we will see you again soon. In the meantime, you guys keep on stepping from West Yellowstone, Montana.